The slave pens are actually the cornerstone of pretty much all the conflict in Zangarmarsh. It does a great job of bridging the activities of the zone with the rest of the Coilfang Reservoir dungeon system. But why do we actually really need to go in there? Unlike what we're led to believe, most of the slave pens is not really even about slaves. When we go through the Dark Portal and arrive in Zangarmarsh, we uncover a helpless, decaying ecosystem that draws the attention of the Cenarian druids. This problem is often attributed to the presence of the Naga and them draining the water out of the marsh. And while that certainly doesn't help, there's actually another factor that contributes to most of the chaos we end up questing through. But first, let's get some context with Quagmirran's backstory. And as usual, I'll be ignoring the modern lore and just sticking with what we know from TBC. Starting with what the heck is this thing? Quagmirran was the leader of the fungal giants, a native species of Draenor. While they can be carnivorous, they prefer to rely on photosynthesis through osmosis, like algae in real life. Before the Naga arrived, the Serpent Shrine was a system of underwater caves stemming from the Underbog. There were many lesser fungal giants and two greater ones, Quag and Hungerfin. Quag ruled over the fungal giants, and Hungerfin resided to protecting his underspore. After the destruction of Draenor, many races fled to the Underbog as the Zangar Sea became the Zangarmarsh, including Rockmar the Crackler, who was the leader of the Lobstrok. The crab things are really called Lobstroks, even though every single mob in the game is labeled as a Bogstrok. They share the same model as the Makura of Azeroth, except they're red, but they are not related at all in the lore. When the Naga of Lady Vashj overtook Outland with Illidan's army, they immediately infiltrated this cavern system and enslaved Rockmar the Crackler and Quagmirran. They captured the leaders of these races in an attempt to subjugate the rest of the species. And this was actually very effective on the Lobstrok, because most of them are found in the slave pens, besides a few unenslaved ones that fled to Marsh Light Lake, where there is a small group of them led by Terrorclaw. But this didn't really work on the fungal giants. There's only one in the slave pens, a couple of them in the Steamvaults, and then the rest of them are unenslaved in the Underbog. After the enslavement, the Naga built the infrastructure of the Coilfang Reservoir around the existing cavern system and began pumping out the water. So what exactly happened to all of the fungal giants that they couldn't enslave? Well, you know, whenever we kill Arthas, we can't just let the Scourge run wild without a leader. That's actually pretty much what happened here. There was no replacement leader for Quagmirran over the Boglords, and the Naga were blocking the communication between Hungerfin and the fungal giants on the surface, so the rest of them are abandoned with very little water to perform osmosis. That's why everywhere you go, you see starving Boglords terrorizing the zone. They attack and infiltrate the spawning glen and start eating little sporelings, and that's not cool. The Naga know this, and specifically drained water from the Dead Mire first, which is a known spawning area for the giants. Many animals in real life do this thing where they vomit up stomach acid onto their food before eating it to begin the digestive process a little early. Human saliva kind of works like that too, and that's basically what the fungal giants are doing whenever they spit acid all over you. It just means that they're hungry and you look like food. Now in modern day in the slave pens, Rockmar the Crackler seems to be doing okay, leading his lobstermen in the Naga army. Meanwhile, Quag is suffering from immense torture. He's cut off from his brethren and in constant pain. The Naga are subjecting him to all kinds of experiments attempting to corrupt him, but all of them fail. The Cenarian expedition sends 4 druids into Coilfang to investigate the state of the wildlife. Whenever they don't make it back, Watcher Jang tells you to go in and find out what happened. 2 of them went into the slave pens. Leader Greenthumb was killed in action, and Naturalist Bite was caged and tortured. After freeing Bite, he tells us that he came here looking for the mythical leader of the fungal giants, Quagmirran, and he found him, tortured and abused. Bite tells us before we leave, we need to put Quagmirran out of his misery because he's too far gone. At this point, he lashes out at everything, and the Naga are planning to unleash him as a weapon. Naturalist Bite even gives us a nature resist buff to help us in the fight, and unfortunately, we do what he says. On the official Blizzard website, they added these quick little segments for the lore of older dungeon bosses in order to provide context for time-walking events. In here, they refer to Quag as a broken being, serving his overlords without question, silencing all who oppose the will of Lady Vashj. And not to Blizzard bash too hard, but I feel like this is just blatantly incorrect. Quag can't talk, and he has no indication that he is actually following any Naga orders. It seems much more likely and obvious that he's just trying to eat us because he's hungry. Quag is even left alone in his water chamber, unsupervised and uncooperating with the Naga. All in all, the slave pens are a pretty horrible place. But I'll finish this video with something happy. When the Naga were attacking a lone, very small fungal giant on the surface of Zangarmarsh, he was actually rescued by sporelings. The fungal giant pledged his allegiance to them in thanks. They apparently teach him how to talk, and he gets the name Fuwar, and he assists with a quest to get back the Naga by stealing the art of Slith. This simple little addition to the game is the only place where we can see how the fungal giant species can actually live in peace with others when unprovoked. Unfortunately, it really doesn't matter that much because we just kill all the fungal giants and leave Outland, but it's still nice to think about. We go into the slave pens not only to free the broken slaves of the Wastewalker tribe, but also to free these ancient creatures from the Naga army and their suffering. Thanks for watching the whole video, subscribe for more fungus vomit, and I'll see you in the next one.